Okay, so two things before we start this video. One, this chair is incredibly loud and squeaky, and I acknowledge that throughout the entirety of this video. It's just that I am an old lady and all other chairs hurt my back. In fact, I can't believe I'm about to show you this, but in fact, I even have this butt donut. The second thing is this funky background that I have going on. I'm currently in the process of revamping this whole entire studio space. The old studio was great, it served its purpose, but I feel like it's time to move on and like become the next evolution of SuperRaeDizzle, you know? So the whole entire revamped studio video will be out maybe around October. So until then, we have this whole entire little makeshift studio that I got going on here. But yes, today's video is going to be a very relaxed, chilled video. Today I thought it'd be a good topic video to share with you guys an updated list of all the art supplies that just ain't it, sis. These are just the art supplies that I, SuperRaeDizzle as the artist, just refuse to use. And as you're about to see, there's a whole plethora of reasons why I have chosen not to use these art supplies. And of course, before we get into it, if you enjoy any of these art supplies that I am about to name, honestly, you do you. I am absolutely not interested in raining on anybody's parade or like gatekeeping or anything like that. What I am here to do is to maybe educate you guys a little bit, share my opinion, and you know, maybe I'll save you guys a little bit of coin. Now, the very first art supply, it used to be a classic. I feel like every single person who is watching this channel right now has used these markers. But over time, and as you're about to see, just the quality has gone way down to the point where I don't even think it's worth it anymore. And these are, and it hurts me so bad to say it, but the markers that I just will absolutely not use anymore is the crazy art markers. I know a lot of calligraphers, artists, crafters, like so many people like these markers because they're so cheap. But the last time that I used these for a video, I was genuinely shocked with how bad they were working. In fact, the last time that I was using one of these crazy art markers, the sponge tip, the best way I can describe it was like a hard rubber. So whenever you drag the marker against a paper, it's like the weird rubber tip like catches on the paper. It's so strange. And just for the sake of this video, I also bought some Crayolas. And I did a side-by-side comparison to make sure I wasn't crazy and just like making things up. And yeah, lo and behold, the one that ran out first was the crazy art. It came in at 7 pages while Crayola was 13. So not only is the sponge like a weird rubbery texture, but the amount of ink that's now in the crazy art is just like plummeted, you know? And you guys know I'm not here to rag on crazy art. I have mentioned them many times. I did a whole entire video on their colored pencils, which I still like. I remember distinctly in the past using these exact markers and they worked great. They were literally a comparison to Crayola markers, you know? But I don't know what happened. So yeah, even though these are half the price of Crayola, just buy the 1 pack of Crayola instead of having to buy like 2, 3, 4 of these just to get the equivalent of 1 Crayola. You know what I mean? So as sad as I am to say it, because I know calligraphers, crafters, artists, so many people out there like the crazy art, I'm just gonna have to just pass on these, you know? Move on. Sad. Now this next art supply is actually more of like a crafter supply. Now before I show you guys the demo, because I have it in my hand, I just want to say that I stole this from my mom's crafting box. So Mom, I know you watch my videos. I'm sorry you had to find out like this. It's just that I didn't want to buy it and you had it, so here we are. But yes, the art supply that I absolutely refuse to use is extra fine glitter. Now you're probably thinking, glitter, it's so great, it's so fun, sparkly, you know. But apparently there's a lot of upcoming environmental concerns about the tiny shards of plastic. Apparently extra fine glitter like this one is really hard to filter out of water systems because it's so tiny. It gets in the water system, it ends up in the stomachs of marine life in the ocean. As of right now, there's not a way to renew it or recycle it. But you don't have to give up on glitter just yet. Here in 2020, they now make 100% eco-friendly, plant-based glitter. And it comes in so many different colors and styles, and it looks exactly like the regular I cannot talk today. Okay, we're gonna try this again. It comes in all different styles and colors, and it looks exactly like the regular glitter that you are used to, just not made out of plastic. Okay, now for this next paint, I need to take a second because I feel like I'm a broken record. I have maybe mentioned this paint a million times on my channel, but I am just not the fan of this paint. And this next paint is tempera paint. Oh boy, where do I even begin? Now, if you don't know what tempera paint is, it's kind of like a mix between gouache and acrylic. It's a very thin, creamy, almost like chalky consistency of a paint. I don't even know where to get started with my dislike of tempera paint. I'm gonna explain it to my best of my ability, but I don't like the consistency. I don't like the texture. I don't like the little bubbles that you get whenever you put too much of it down. When it dries lighter than what it looks like when it's wet, so you don't actually know what real color you're working with, which drives me nuts. It's not permanent, which means that it can easily be washed off or flaked off. When it dries down, it gets almost like this weird white cast over it, which I'm just not a fan of. And again, absolutely no tea, no shade for the people who do enjoy tempera paint. It's just that the way I do artwork, it's not the same, you know, it just doesn't work out. So yeah, tempera paint is something that I will probably never show you guys on my channel. So the next item that I am just not a fan of when it comes to art supplies, and this is definitely another one that I've said maybe like a million times on the history of my channel. These cheap sketchbooks that you can get at like dollar stores and like Walmart and different places like that. And the reason I got two of them is because this one's more of like a kid one that you can get for $1, and I got a more expensive one at $5 at the dollar store. And the reason I'm not really a fan of these is because it says it's a sketchbook, but in reality, the paper that is inside of it is more like newsprint or printer paper. It's just not it, sis. When you erase on this paper, sometimes it'll rip because it's so thin. It has a hard time holding any kind of like wet medium, like markers, a lot of pens, even colored pencils. If your colored pencil is too sharp, it'll like rip right through the paper. This isn't even about price. Like if you want cheap, Dollar Tree sells these incredible. I have one, hold on. And as I was saying, it's not about price. I spent $1 on this sketchbook. Meanwhile, in the exact same store, I spent another $1 on this 5-package pre-cut poster board. You guys know I did a whole entire video about Dollar Tree art supplies and how good they could be, and that includes poster board. Sand it down a little bit, you can use the matte side, and you get 5 really good pieces of art supply paper. Now this next art supply, every single one of you, I can guarantee you guys agree with me on this one. I feel like every single human on the face of this planet does not like this art supply, and that is pencil erasers that don't work. I'm sure every single person has dealt with those pencil erasers that when you try to erase, it doesn't erase. Instead, it just smears the graphite all over the paper, making a huge, huge mess. Oh gosh, it drives me bonkers when that happens. I have ruined so many good drawings because the eraser just wasn't it. And alternatively, I asked on Twitter what art supplies you guys don't like, and a huge response was those erasers that are more decorative than they are useful. Apparently a lot of people really don't like those erasers, so I just thought I would add that to the list. This next art supply I bought for this video specifically. I have bought these in the past and I had vowed to never purchase these again, but here we are. These are the Crayola Marker Blend and Shade. I did a whole entire review on these markers. No. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of these markers. If you guys didn't see the review, these are Crayola's signature upscale markers, if you will. They're supposed to be like a more high-end blending and shading kind of thing, an alcohol-based marker that's not alcohol-based. When I was using these, I had a really hard time blending and shading, which now in retrospect, it's kind of awkward that I was having trouble blending and shading because it is literally on the package. It says blend and shade when it doesn't do that at all. The color saturation was really, really off compared to what the packaging said. For example, the orange wasn't orange. It was like a neon, like a vibrant, bright neon orange. It comes with a colorless blender that just bleeds like nobody's business, and it could easily ruin your artwork. And especially because Ohuhu's, since my review, they've raised the price, I think by like $5, but just the fact that you can get 40 Ohuhu markers that work incredible compared to 16 of these for almost the exact same price, it just doesn't sit well with me as like an artist, you know? And by the way, I just want to do a note that I have tried the other Crayola Professional line, and I haven't found anything that I've liked. In my opinion, I kind of feel like it's a
little bit of a money grab, if I'm gonna be honest here, you know?
So yeah, as much as I like the concept of like a high-end Crayola, I really think they need to work on this, you know? Now, this art supply, again, I bought it for the sake of the video to show you guys. But this next art supply, I absolutely refuse to use this art supply. And I'll explain why. This art supply is anything with cadmium in it. Now, cadmium is a naturally occurring pigment, and it has a pretty controversial past. According to this Australian government website, if consumed over a long period of time, cadmium can lead to kidney disease and cause bones to become weaker. Large amounts of cadmium can cause damage to the kidneys, liver, heart, and in severe cases, may even cause death. Now, I know I said the word consumed, but you have to consider us artists. We're always working with our hands. We're always accidentally drinking the paint water. We're hanging up our paintings. We're inhaling constantly the fumes of our artwork. And you multiply that over the fact that us artists, we're doing artwork our whole entire life. So that's a whole entire life of us just constant exposure to cadmium. And even if it is just a small amount that I'm being paranoid, the thing is that they make cadmium-free paint that looks the exact same. It's sometimes even brighter and more vibrant because it is a synthetic. In fact, I'm gonna show you guys a direct side-by-side, and I want you guys to guess which one is the synthetic and which one is the regular, because in person they look identical to me. So here they are, swatch 1, swatch 2, and I want you to take a second which one you think is the fake one. Yeah, so left is the fake and right is the real. You see what I'm saying? They look absolutely identical. A lot of the times it's even cheaper to get cadmium-free CAD, and to be quite honest with you, I just don't see no downside of buying CAD-free CAD. You know, in my opinion, why would I even want to take the chance of working with cadmium when I can work with CAD-free cadmium? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, unless I really wanted a paint that was only made with cadmium, I personally don't see any reason why I would ever buy a cadmium-based paint. I just don't think it's worth it, you know? But yeah, that concludes my list of all the art supplies that I just will not use on my channel, or I will go out of my way to not use. If there's an art supply that you just absolutely refuse to use, please let me know down in the comments down below. You guys know the drill. I'll leave my socials, second channel down in the description box, as well as like any extra information. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you next video. Bye!